Hey guys, Twins here, and today we are going to be discussing all breads, but mostly this one. Alright guys, so if you don't know, all bread is not created equal. For the most part, you have 2 to 3 different types of breads, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So first I'm going to explain to you white bread. White bread, like Wonder Bread, the white bread and wheat bread are considered the same. Now, I know you've heard of whole grain bread, but that's a different thing in general, altogether. I'll explain white bread. White bread and wheat bread are just made with the ground endosperm. And I'm going to do a little science for you right now. The grain that they harvest has 3 components to it. You have your endosperm, the germ, and the bran. The bran is the outer, if you think of it like a corn kernel, right? So picture a corn kernel in your head right now. The outer casing is the bran. The juice that holds everything together is the endosperm. And that little tiny kernel on the inside, that's the germ.
Okay.
Now I'm going to explain to you the nutritional facts of each of those 3 things.
Sounds good. Sounds
All
good.
right?
Sounds good.
So in the bran, which is the kernel, the casing,
Right.
that's where all the fiber is. Okay? The endosperm, which is what wheat bread and white bread and wheat bread are only made of. This is all they're made out of. Is where all the carb is. Almost all the carb that makes up one of these little grains is in that. Alright, and the last part is the germ, which is actually very similar. The components in a seed are very similar to an egg. The germ would be the yolk, where all the fat and protein is.
Right.
Alright, so that's the 3 parts. So now, we already discussed wheat and white bread, all they have is endosperm. Now, whole grain bread, obviously, whole grain, it's in the name. It uses all 3 of those components.
Unless it's got to say 100% whole grain. Because whole grain by itself is just one of those legal terms. They can just be the same thing as that, but they're not really using the whole grain. It has to say 100% whole grain to be this part.
Alright, and now the last one is if you're like a bodybuilder or you're into athleticism or anything like that, you might have heard of sprouted breads. Or, like for example, one big one made popular by most bodybuilders is the Ezekiel bread. That is the same thing as whole grain bread, but the grain is allowed to sprout, and people believe that has more vitamins and proteins because it's been allowed to sprout, which means kind of been germinated. It's been like if you were to take an egg and have a rooster do its thing, and now it's starting to create a new little baby chicken inside. They think it's got more protein inside. You get a female with chicken,
an egg,
and a
rooster.
That's how. Not gonna explain the birds in BC.
Egg and rooster equals
baby chicken.
Well, sprouted grains.
Right. Well, hey, it's an analogy because we're comparing the egg to the seed. Nonetheless, so that's what sprouted bread. When you hear sprouted bread, Ezekiel bread. This guy that we're gonna show you, I don't know where it is.
What do you mean?
So 3
This bag right here?
Yes, sir.
As we're saying, you may have heard of Ezekiel bread, and if you haven't, he just told you that it's basically the sprouted grains, right? Now, we found a bread that we feel is better than that because it lacks one key ingredient: soy. And if you don't know the whole power of soy, well, I got an article you can read up here somewhere. Anyway, so this bread right here, called Silver Hills Little Big Bread, does not have soy.
We'll put the website in the description so you can go.
Where you can go
check it out.
But it does not have soy. And we discussed that. Well, you can read the article if you want to know more about what soy does to you and all that stuff. But frankly, just for the purpose of this, just know it does not have that, which makes it, in our minds, better than Ezekiel bread.
Now, let me explain something now. So this is the sprouted bread, very similar to Ezekiel bread. It's all the same thing. What people argue is that whole grain and sprouted bread, there's really not much difference, except this type of bread's more expensive. And so what we recommend is whole grain bread. Just go for the whole grain bread.
100%
whole grain, right? But really, when you're buying it, watch the sugar content, not the carb content. That's different. When they add sugar, when they add salt, those are two things you really don't need a whole bunch of it. But they use a lot of it, and a lot of that salt is not flavoring salt, it's preservative salt. It allows it to stay on the shelves for months.
It's all about profit margins.
Yes.
So company.
So anyway, when you're buying this bread, expect to pay a lot more. Any of the sprouted breads, you're going to expect to pay more, mainly because they have no preservatives. They have such a poor shelf life, but they are delicious. They come out, I tell you what, man, when we, and women, when we kids and grandparents, before a soccer match, we make the best sandwich with this bread. Alright, it's a triple decker, PB and banana and honey. Oh my god. And when that's in there,
you gotta toast the bread.
This sandwich just goes by so fast because it's so delicious. I highly recommend giving one of these breads a chance with a try toasted. We're actually going to put a video together on how we make the perfect peanut butter sandwich. You'll see that in later videos.
It's technique. Here's a little technique.
So what else I want to say? So we got this one at Target. We have not found it anywhere else.
But if you were to compare this to a less expensive whole grain bread like we're talking about, if you were to compare the nutrition facts side by side, you probably won't see much of a difference. You might see a little more protein, you might see a little more vitamins in this, but really there isn't, like what we're saying, there isn't much of a difference. If you want to feel, like we feel more of like a, I don't know, it's like a sense of less guilt when we eat this type of bread compared to like actual bread, because I don't know, it's just one of those mentality things.
It's really low carb. What's it, only like 9 grams? No. One slice of bread is only 9 grams. So.
Oh right, it's a serving size too. Yep.
So I mean, two slices is going to give you almost 20 grams of carbs, but if you only eat one slice, it's not bad. You can, but really 2 slices is not bad because you're going to get a decent amount of fiber in one of these things, plus protein. So.
Because we all know that breads are one of the things you got to be careful with how you eat, because frankly you can gain a lot of weight if you eat the wrong type of bread. So
another thing with this bread is that right when you take it out of the package, this bread, any of the sprouted breads, you're going to notice that they're smaller. The slices are so much smaller. But I assure you, when you're eating it, like it doesn't really like. I can't be. When I eat it, I'm not like, ugh, that was so small. I'm so hungry. Like it just works. It works because it's packed with so much fiber and protein. And if you don't know, fiber is what really like makes you feel full. Having high fiber, high protein foods. So we recommend this brand, but like we were saying, it's pricey. This is almost 4 times the cost of a regular 100% whole grain bread. So we really recommend whole grain bread. Same thing. This is just a little bit more vitamins, proteins, minerals. But for the price, go for the whole grain, always.
Yeah.
But Absolutely. Make sure, low sugar, low sodium. So, I believe that's it. If you guys have any questions on or anything, leave us a comment. Please like and share this video.
And I'd like to say one more thing. We got almost 700 registered members on the website. So if you haven't registered yet, head over there. You know,
here it is right here. You can click. I think.
We plan on doing a lot of big things on there, so check us out and like us if you like us. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe. Whatever. I don't know the words. Enjoy.